Tables in SQL Server can return lots of data to your query. There are other objects inside SQL Server that can return data also to a query window. Not all of these objects are tables. When you want to join a table to another SQL object that is not a table, you have to use a variety of means to get your intended results. Let's start off by looking at the regular table queries that we're familiar with. This one will get all records and all fields from the sales invoice table. Now, looking at the first invoice number from customer 472, how many items did they buy? Did they stop and buy 10 items? Did they buy just one? Did they buy 3 of the same item and 2 of another? Well, that level of detail can be found in the sales invoice detail table, and we can join the sales invoice table to the sales invoice detail table on the sales invoice's invoice ID field, equating to the sales invoice details invoice ID field. Run that, and we see sales invoice 1 has quite a number of products on it. Sales invoice 1, product 76 was ordered twice. Sales invoice 1 also had product 77 ordered 3 times. It looks like sales invoice 1 had quite a bounty of products ordered from it. Sales invoice 2, just 1. Sales invoice 3, just 1. Well, let's find out exactly how much this order amounted to. Now, I've got the product ID, but I don't know its price. So what we're going to do is another join. Inner join, current products, CP, on CP dot product ID is equal to SD dot product ID, and run it. Now we are getting every field from all 3 of these tables, which is quite a bit to look at. So let's narrow it down. From the sales invoice table, we want to see the invoice ID. From the sales invoice table, we want to see the customer ID. And we also want to see the order date. Let's drop down a line and get a few fields from the sales invoice detail table, namely the product ID that was ordered. And from the sales invoice detail table, we want the quantity. Now, let's drop down another line, and from the product table, we want some lookup information like product name and retail price. Okay, we can see exactly when things were ordered, how many items were ordered, and now we can see the retail price. And we get the retail price of all the various line items. Okay, this is pretty good. Now, usually when you're producing a detailed report like this, you're narrowing down on one particular customer. Let's look at the customer ID, and let's pick one specific customer. Let's do number 4. It looks like customer 4 has ordered on 2 different invoices. Product 53 on one invoice, product 50 on the other. How about customer number 1? Wow, 19 rows of information. One on this invoice, one on this invoice, and a whole bunch on invoice number 1401. How about customer ID 2? Not as many items. How about customer 3? Invoice 443 has 4 items. Invoice 828 has 2 items, and 1 item on 949. Now, that's a pretty neat report. Now, knowing that this query usually only changes on one particular customer ID, pick the one you want. Here, I'm picking customer ID 4. And notice one other change. We will now bring in another field that will be an expression field. We take the quantity, multiply it by the retail price, and we get the total line item amount pertaining to that invoice order. The time was taken to create what's known as a table-valued function. This is actually a function that hooks to the combination of tables you just saw. And if I wanted to find out what customer 1 has ordered, I put a 1 in here, and it produces the report similar to the query you just saw. This is known as a table-valued function. Put any of the customer numbers and it will produce their report. Not only that, but as you can see, it calculates the total amount spent on that line item of that invoice. So, the question is, how do you join a table-valued function to a table? This table-valued function will produce a detailed report for all the invoices and all the products on those invoices and the amounts for any given customer. If I put a 2 in here, we see the results for customer 2. But it doesn't tell us the name of customer 2. That can be done with a regular select from a table. Let's look at our customer table and figure out who customer 2 is. Customer 2 appears to be Lee Young. So how can I join this table to this function? Well, let's start off by trying a regular join. I'm going to alias this customer table as CU, and at this point we would attempt to take this other table and do an inner join. But what do we inner join on? See, a function does not support an on clause, so I might be tempted to take this CU and say, give me the value from the customer ID field. And we run it and we see it doesn't work, not with an inner join. So what we're going to do is take the customer ID, which could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and pass all of them individually into this function by doing a cross apply, and run it. And there you get the result. Well, let's take time to order this. Let's put order by cu.customerID. There's customer number 1 and all of their invoices and order totals. Here is customer 2, 3. Customer 2 is Lee. Lee only ordered one item, so Lee appears only once. So the cross apply finds the matching records between a table and a table-valued function, the same way an inner join finds the matching records between two tables, and it allows you to pass in the match inside of the parentheses for the function rather than using an on clause. Lab 1.2, Skill Check 1. The function fn_getStateFromLocationID returns fields from the state list table for each JProco location ID. Show the 12 employees who currently work in the JProco locations. Sort your results by last name and first name. When you're done, your results should resemble the figure you see here. Skill Check 2. The function fn_getCustomerTrips accepts a customer ID and shows one record for the unique combination of each customer's and invoices and products purchased. For example, if you do select star from fn_getCustomerTrips and you pass in customer 4, it returns the 5 fields shown below for all of customer 4's purchases. Cross-apply the customer table with the function fn_getCustomerTrips to show the customer name with the trip list. Alias the customer table as CU and alias the function as GCT. Sort your results by customer ID and then invoice ID. When you're done, your screen should resemble the figure you see here. Skill Check 3. The function fn_getCustomerList accepts a product ID and shows the line of customers who have purchased that product. Cross-apply the current products table with the fn_getCustomerList function to show the product name, alias the current products as CP, and the function getCustomerList as GCL. When you're done, your results should resemble the figure you see here.